I was standing in the darkroom of my studio, the sharp, chemical smell of developer fluid filling my nose, a scent that usually calmed me. It was the smell of control, of creation, of capturing a moment and making it permanent. I was carefully developing a print for a major commercial client, a job that was going to cover my studio rent for the next 6 months. Then, my phone buzzed against the metal countertop. The screen lit up with the word, Mother. My stomach did that familiar flip, a mix of anxiety and a desperate, pathetic hope that maybe, just maybe, she was calling to see how I was. I wiped my hands on my apron and answered. Haley, are you there? Her voice was sharp, impatient. No, hello. No, how are you? I'm here, Mom. I'm actually in the middle of developing I don't have time for your little hobbies, Haley, she cut me off. We need to talk about Kayla's wedding. The finalized guest list. I smiled involuntarily. Kayla, my younger sister, was getting married in 3 weeks. It was going to be the event of the decade, or so my mother claimed. An $800,000 extravaganza in Miami. Oh, right. I was going to ask if you needed help with the seating chart for the reception. I know Aunt Linda can't sit next to, you're not sitting anywhere, Haley. The silence on the line was heavy. The red safety light of the darkroom made everything look like a scene from a horror movie. What? We've discussed it, my mother said, her voice terrifyingly casual. Kayla and I. And we think it's best if you don't attend the ceremony or the reception. I gripped the edge of the counter. The metal dug into my palm. Mom, it's my sister's wedding. I'm the maid of honor. I bought the dress. I organized the bridal shower. We're cutting the maid of honor role, she said breezily. Look, I'll be honest because I'm your mother, and I love you enough to tell you the truth. You don't fit the aesthetic, Haley. Bradley comes from a very prominent family. Their side is full of models, influencers, people with a certain look. You're always so tired, so severe. And frankly, your success is a problem. My success? I whispered. Yes. You have this way of sucking the air out of the room. People ask about your studio, your awards. It's Kayla's day. She needs all the attention. If you're there, you'll ruin her moment. You'll overshadow her just by existing. It's selfish of you to even want to go. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My own mother was telling me that my hard work, the career I built from nothing, was an insult to my sister. And my face? My presence? It wasn't good enough for the aesthetic. So I'm uninvited, I said, my voice trembling. It's for the best. Don't be dramatic. But listen, that's not why I called. We have a situation with the venue deposit. The final installment is due today. I blinked, trying to process the whiplash. She just kicked me out of the wedding, and now she was talking about logistics. Okay. I said slowly. So Dad will write the check. Your father's assets are tied up in the market right now. We need $50,000, Haley. Immediate transfer. Today. I nearly dropped the phone. 50,000. Mom, you just told me I can't come. You want me to pay $50,000 for a party I'm not allowed to attend. Don't make this transactional, Haley, she snapped, her tone dripping with venom. This is family. This is your sister's happiness. You've always been the provider, the responsible one. It's your role. Kayla is fragile right now, the stress is eating her alive. If we lose the venue, it will kill her. Do you want that on your conscience? But Mom, We need it transferred by 2 p.m. I'll text you the routing number for the venue. And Haley, don't make a scene about not coming. We're telling everyone you're on a work assignment in Europe. It sounds better. Less pathetic. She hung up. I stood there in the red light, the phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the dial tone. The injustice of it didn't hit me all at once. It seeped in like cold water. I looked at the developer tray. I had spent my entire adult life trying to buy my way into their hearts. I paid off my parents' mortgage. I paid for Kayla's college tuition, which she wasted on a degree she never used. I bought the cars they drove. I was the provider. The good daughter. And to them, that didn't mean I was a person. It meant I was a wallet with a heartbeat. My chest tightened. I wanted to scream, to throw the chemical trays against the wall. But I didn't. I was trained well. I was trained to be the fixer. The notification popped up on my screen. A text from Mom, routing number attached. Hurry up. The coordinator is waiting. I stared at the screen. $50,000. That was my entire savings for the new studio equipment upgrade. That was the money for the salary of my new assistant. Hey! I jumped. Liam, my husband, was standing in the doorway of the darkroom. He held 2 coffees. He saw my face, saw the tears I was refusing to shed, and his expression hardened. What did they do? He asked. Not what happened. What did they do? He knew. He always knew. Mom uninvited me, I said, my voice sounding hollow, like it belonged to someone else. She said I'm too ugly and too successful. She said I'd ruin the pictures. Liam's jaw tightened. He set the coffees down slowly, his movements controlled, like a lawyer preparing for a closing argument. And she needs $50,000 by 2 p.m. for the venue. Liam didn't yell. He didn't rage. He just looked at me with a profound sadness. Haley. Honey. How many times are we going to do this? It's Kayla's wedding, I whispered, the old programming kicking in. If I don't pay, she loses the venue. She'll be devastated. She uninvited you, Haley. Liam grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at him. They are spitting in your face and asking you to pay for the privilege. This isn't love. This is a hostage situation. I looked into his eyes and saw the reflection of a woman I didn't recognize. A woman who was exhausted. A woman who had been paying a ransom for 32 years, hoping that one day, if she paid enough, they would finally love her. But they didn't want me. They just wanted the transfer. I need to think, I said, pulling away. I need to check my accounts. Don't do it, Liam said, his voice pleading. Please, Haley. For us. For yourself. Don't send that money. I walked out of the darkroom into the bright, blinding light of the main studio. I felt exposed. I felt raw. And for the first time in my life, beneath the hurt, beneath the years of conditioning, I felt a tiny, flickering spark of anger. I sat at my desk, the glossy white surface usually covered with contact sheets and lenses, now bare except for my laptop. I logged into my bank account. Liam stood by the window, giving me space, but I could feel his eyes on me. He was right, of course. He was always right about them. I scrolled through the transaction history. It was a graveyard of my own financial stability. Transfer to Deborah, $4,000 mom's dental surgery, transfer to Kayla, $2,500 car repair, transfer to Richard, dad $6,000 property tax help. I clicked on the mom's dental surgery date. It was 3 months ago. I remembered that day. Mom called crying, saying she was in agony. I transferred the money within 5 minutes. Then, something caught my eye. On Instagram, around that same date. I pulled up my phone and scrolled back on Kayla's feed. There it was. A photo of Kayla and Mom at a spa resort in Arizona. The caption, girls trip. Treated ourselves to the deluxe package. #blessed. The dates matched perfectly. The surgery money. My hands started to shake. I felt a cold nausea rising in my throat. It wasn't just about the money. It was the lie. The ease of it. They didn't just need help, they were actively creating emergencies to extract cash from me. Liam, I croaked. Come look at this. He walked over, looked at the bank statement and the phone screen. He didn't say, I told you so. He just placed a hand on my back. It's fraud, Haley. Morally and maybe legally. I've been their ATM, I said, the realization tasting like ash in my mouth. My whole life. I thought I was being the good daughter. The responsible one. I thought back to college. I worked 3 jobs, barista, library assistant, freelance photography, to pay my own tuition. Meanwhile, Kayla failed out of her first semester because she was too homesick, and my parents bought her a brand new convertible to cheer her up. Who paid for the insurance on that car? I did. Dad said it was my contribution to the family. I need to check the credit cards, I said, a sudden panic seizing me. I had given Mom a supplementary credit card 2 years ago. It was strictly for emergencies, medical bills, groceries if things got tight. The limit was high because I trusted her. I logged into the credit card portal. My breath hitched. The balance was nearly maxed out. $28,000 in the last month alone. I clicked on the details, expecting to see hospitals or pharmacies. Neiman Marcus, $12,000 The Bridal Suite Miami, $4,500 Sephora, $800 Elite Tanning Salon, $300, she bought Kayla's dress, I whispered, staring at the Neiman Marcus charge. She told me she was buying heart medication. She said her insurance copay went up. Liam leaned in, his face darkening. And look at that date. That was the day you told her we were trying to save for a down payment on a house. She spent $12,000 on a dress the same day you asked her to be careful with the card. I felt like I was waking up from a long, heavily sedated sleep. The fog was lifting, and the reality was sharp and jagged. They don't respect me, I said, my voice gaining a little strength. They don't even like me. They just like what I can give them. They view your salary as their salary, Liam said, using his lawyer voice. Haley, look at this charge here. Premier Catering. That's another deposit. They are funding this entire wedding on your credit, behind your back, while telling you that you aren't good enough to attend. I stood up. The chair scraped loudly against the floor. I walked to the window and looked out at the city skyline. I had built this. I built this studio. I built my reputation. I worked 16-hour days. I missed vacations. I missed dates. I sacrificed so much to be secure, to be the person who could help. And they were laughing at me. Mom said Kayla needs all the attention, I said, turning back to Liam. She said my success overshadows her. Your success reminds them of their failure, Liam corrected. Kayla has never worked a day in her life. Your parents managed their retirement poorly. You are the mirror they hate looking into, but they need the reflection to pay the bills. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Mom. Where is the money? The manager is getting impatient. Don't be a brat, Haley. Do your duty. My duty. I'm not sending the $50,000, I said. Liam exhaled, a sound of pure relief. Good. But that's not enough, I continued. My mind was racing now, connecting dots I had ignored for years. If I just say no, they'll guilt trip me. They'll show up here. They'll scream. They'll tell everyone I'm trying to sabotage the wedding out of jealousy. Let them, Liam said. We'll get a restraining order. No, I said. I need to know everything. I need to know how deep this goes before I cut the cord. I grabbed my purse. I'm going over there. Haley, no. It's not safe. Emotionally, I mean. I'm not going to fight, I said, checking my pockets to make sure I had my phone. I'm going to drop off the check. Or at least, tell them I am. I need to see their faces when they ask for the money. I need to see it with my own eyes. I'm coming with you, Liam said, grabbing his keys. No. If you're there, they'll be on their best behavior. They play the victim when you're around. I need to catch them being themselves. I paused at the door, looking back at the bank statement on the screen. The evidence of my stupidity. The evidence of my love. I'm done being the ATM, Liam. I promise. I walked out of the studio, but I didn't feel brave. I felt like I was walking to my own execution. I just didn't know yet that I would be the one holding the axe. My parents' house, a sprawling colonial in a suburb that was slightly too expensive for them, was only a 20-minute drive from my studio. I pulled my modest sedan into the driveway, parking behind Kayla's brand new Range Rover. I stared at the Range Rover. I knew with a sudden, sickening certainty that my name was probably on the lease paperwork somewhere as a guarantor. The house was quiet. I still had my key, a relic from the days when I would come over to fix their Wi-Fi, unclog their drains, or stock their fridge. I walked up to the front door, my hand trembling as I reached for the lock. I didn't knock. I just unlocked it quietly and stepped into the foyer. I could hear voices coming from the sunroom at the back of the house. Laughter. The clinking of glasses. It was 1 p.m. on a Tuesday. She actually thinks I invited her because I wanted her there. That was Kayla's voice. High, tinkling, cruel. I froze. I stood in the hallway, hidden by the shadow of the staircase. Oh honey, she's desperate, my mother's voice replied. I could hear the smile in it. Haley has always been desperate to be part of the cool crowd. She doesn't realize she's just the wallet. God, can you imagine her in the photos? Kayla laughed. With that severe haircut and those cheap suits she wears. Bradley said she looks like a high school librarian. It would totally ruin the vibe. We need beautiful people, Mom. Not Haley. My breath caught in my throat. I pressed my hand over my mouth to stop a sob from escaping. Bradley. My future brother-in-law. The man I had welcomed into the family. The man I had bought a $2,000 watch for as an engagement gift. He was mocking me too. Well, don't worry, Mom said soothingly. I handled it. I told her she's uninvited. But I made sure to guilt her about the venue deposit first. She'll pay. She always pays. She has this pathological need to be the savior. It's actually quite pathetic. Is she sending the 50 grand? Kayla asked, her voice sharpening with greed. She will. I told her it's her duty. Once the check clears, we can focus on the real issue, getting her to sign over the condo. The world stopped. The condo. I owned a small, 2-bedroom investment condo downtown. It was my retirement plan. It was the one asset I had kept entirely separate from them. Or so I thought. You really think she'll do it? Kayla asked. That's a big ask, Mom. Even for Haley. Oh, please. I have it all planned out, Mom said, and I heard the sound of ice rattling in a glass. After the wedding, we'll tell her that your father has a gambling debt. Or maybe a bad investment. We'll say we're going to lose this house unless she helps. We'll cry. We'll beg. She'll panic. She'll sign over the deed to the condo to save the family home. And then, surprise. It's your wedding present, baby. You're a genius, Mom. Kayla squealed. I love you. I can't wait to move in. I'm going to paint those ugly gray walls pink. Something inside me broke. It wasn't a loud break. It wasn't a shattering of glass. It was a snap. A quiet, metallic snap, like a switch being flipped in the deep recesses of a dark machine. The tears that had been threatening to fall simply evaporated. The heavy sorrow in my chest vanished, replaced by a cold, hollow clarity. I wasn't a daughter to them. I wasn't a sister. I was livestock. I was a cow to be milked until I was dry, and then slaughtered for meat. They weren't just using me. They were planning to rob me. To steal my future to fund Kayla's fantasy life. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. My hand was steady now. Rock steady. I opened the voice recorder app and hit the red button. I crept closer to the doorway, ensuring the microphone picked up every word. What if Liam tries to stop her? Kayla asked. He's a lawyer. He's annoying. Liam is a problem, Mom admitted. But Haley is weak when it comes to us. She craves my approval. I just have to dangle a little bit of affection, tell her she's a good girl, and she'll roll over. She always does. She's been buying my love since she was 16. Why would she stop now? True, Kayla giggled. God, she's such a loser. Imagine being 32, and having to pay your mommy to like you. I recorded for another 2 minutes. I captured it all. The mockery. The fraud plan. The sheer, unadulterated malice. I saved the file. I named it the receipts. I didn't burst into the room. I didn't scream. The old Haley would have cried and asked why. The new Haley, the one who had just been born in this hallway, didn't ask why. She was too busy calculating. I turned around and walked out of the house. I closed the front door softly. I didn't slam it. I got into my car. I checked my reflection in the rearview mirror. I expected to look devastated. Instead, I looked terrifying. My eyes were dry. My expression was blank. I picked up my phone and dialed Liam. Haley. Are you okay? Did you see them? Liam sounded frantic. I'm leaving now, I said. My voice was calm. Unsettlingly calm. What happened? Did you give them the check? No, I said. Liam, I need you to meet me at the studio. Bring your laptop. And call the bank manager, the one you play golf with. Why? What's going on? I'm done, I said, putting the car into gear. I'm not just cutting them off, Liam. I'm going to destroy them. I have the evidence. They want a wedding. I'm going to give them a show they'll never forget. Haley, you're scaring me. Good, I said. Because I'm going to scare the hell out of them, too. Get the divorce paperwork ready. Divorce. For us. No, I said, a cold smile touching my lips. For the family. I'm divorcing my mother. I drove away from the house that had never been a home. I didn't look back. The snap had happened. And now, it was time for the fallout. When I walked back into the studio, Liam was waiting. He had cleared a large table and set up his laptop, a legal pad, and a fresh pot of coffee. He took one look at my face and didn't ask if I was okay. He knew I wasn't. He knew I was in war mode. Play it, he said, gesturing to my phone. I connected to the Bluetooth speaker and played the recording. As Mom's voice filled the room, calling me pathetic, outlining the plan to steal the condo, laughing about my need to buy love, Liam's face went from concern to stone-cold furious. He was a corporate litigator. I had seen him destroy hostile witnesses in court, but I had never seen him look this angry. When the recording ended, silence hung in the air for a long moment. They are monsters, Liam said quietly. Sociopaths. They're confident, I corrected. They think I'm stupid. They think I'm already broken. We are going to the police, Liam said, reaching for his phone. This is conspiracy to commit fraud. Extortion. We have it on tape. No, I said, placing a hand on his arm. Not yet. Haley, they are planning to steal your real estate. If I go to the police now, what happens? A messy family dispute. Mom will cry, say she was joking, say I manipulated the recording. It drags on for months. They still have the wedding. They still win the narrative. I become the bitter sister who sued her family. So what do? We let them hang themselves, I said. They need money, right? They are counting on my money to pay for this wedding in 3 weeks. They've maxed out my cards. They're waiting for the $50,000 transfer. I walked over to the whiteboard where I usually sketched out lighting setups. I picked up a red marker. Step 1, the freeze, I wrote. We lock everything. Today. Right now. Liam nodded, opening his laptop. I can file an emergency injunction on the joint accounts, but it's faster if you just report the cards as stolen or compromised. Since your name is primary, you have the power. Do it, I said. Report every single card Mom has access to as lost. Cancel them. Flag the transactions from the last 30 days as unauthorized. The bank will reverse the charges to the vendors, Liam warned. The bridal shop, the caterer, they'll get hit with chargebacks. Good, I said. Step 2, I wrote. The disappearance. I turned to Liam. Remember that trip to Italy we cancelled 2 years ago because Dad needed surgery for his back? The Amalfi Coast, Liam said, a wistful look in his eyes. Villa Giovanni. Is it still available? Liam typed furiously. September is peak season, wait. I still have Giovanni's personal email. We became friends when I tried to rebook last time. He sent a quick email. Why Italy? Liam asked. Because Kayla's wedding is September 15th. I want to be 4,000 miles away when the check bounces. I want to be sipping wine by the Mediterranean when Mom realizes the credit card for the final catering payment is dead. They will come for you, Liam said. They will show up at our door. We won't be here. We leave in 2 days. Suddenly, Liam's phone pinged. He frowned, clicking on a banking alert. His face went pale. Haley, you need to see this. I walked around the desk. On the screen was a notification from a credit monitoring service. New inquiry, second mortgage application. Property, 450 Oak Street. That's my parents' house, I said. Look at the cosigner, Liam pointed. There in black and white was my name. Haley A. Bennett. I didn't sign that, I whispered. They forged it, Liam said, his voice shaking with rage. They forged your signature to take out a second mortgage on their house to pay for, what? The rest of the wedding. Or just to have cash. They knew I might say no to the 50 grand, I realized. This was their backup plan. Use my credit rating to get a loan. This changed everything. This wasn't just emotional abuse anymore. This was a felony. Okay, I said, my voice dropping an octave. Change of plan. We don't just freeze the cards. We lock down my credit files with all 3 bureaus. Freezing it will stop this loan from finalizing. It will trigger a fraud alert, Liam said. The bank will call the police. Let them, I said. But I don't want to deal with the cops today. I want to be on that plane. I want the police to show up at their door while I'm in the air. I looked at the whiteboard. I erased the disappearance and wrote the evacuation. Liam, book the tickets. Business class. Use the money I was saving for the new cameras. And the $50,000 they are waiting for by 2 p.m. Liam asked, checking his watch. It was 1:45 p.m. I pulled out my phone. I opened my banking app. I typed in the amount, 1 cent. In the memo line, I wrote, for the aesthetic. I hit send. Haley, you didn't, Liam gasped, but he was grinning. Oh, I did. And now we pack. I felt a rush of adrenaline like I had never felt before. It was the thrill of the counterattack. For years, I had played defense. I had apologized, fixed, and smoothed things over. Now, I was going on the offense. One more thing, I said. I need to know exactly what vendors they are using. I need the contracts. Why? Because, I said, narrowing my eyes. If Mom is using my identity, I bet my name is on those vendor contracts too. If things go south, they'll sue me, not her. I need to get ahead of it. How are you going to get the contracts? I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. I'm in the industry, Liam. I know the photographer. I know the florist. I'm going to make a few calls. I'm going to tell them I'm just confirming details for my sister. I'm going to get the receipts. You're terrifying, Liam said with admiration. I love it. I learned from the best, I said, looking at the photo of my mother on my desk. I picked up the frame and dropped it into the trash can. Class is dismissed. The next 24 hours were a blur of calculated deception. I had to play the part of the compliant daughter one last time, while simultaneously dismantling their entire financial infrastructure. My phone blew up the moment the 1-cent transfer hit. Mom, 16 missed calls, Kayla, 8 missed calls, Dad, 3 missed calls, then the text started. MOM, is this a joke? 1 cent. MOM, the coordinator is waiting. Are you insane? Kayla, you're ruining everything. I hate you. I waited an hour before replying. I used the gray rock method Liam taught me, boring, unemotional, unreactive. Me, so sorry. Banking error. System is down for maintenance. We'll go to the branch tomorrow morning to wire it manually. It was a lie, of course. But it bought me time. It kept them stalling, hoping for the money, instead of scrambling to find a new victim. While they were raging at my incompetence, I was on the phone with the vendors. First, I called Elegant Blooms, the florist. I knew the owner, Sandy. Hey Sandy. It's Haley. Just checking in on Kayla's wedding. Oh, Haley. We were getting worried. The second installment on the flowers is overdue. Really? I feigned shock. Can you email me the invoice and the contract? I want to make sure Mom didn't mess up the billing address. 5 minutes later, the PDF arrived. I opened it. Client, Deborah Bennett. Billing party, Haley Bennett. Signature, Haley Bennett, forged. My blood boiled. She had forged my signature on a $15,000 flower contract. If the bill wasn't paid, Sandy would sue me. I did the same with the caterer, the DJ, and the venue rental. Every single contract had my name as the financially responsible party, with a signature that looked vaguely like mine but had a loop I never used. Liam, I called out from the living room, where we were packing suitcases. It's worse than we thought. I'm on the hook for everything. Roughly $120,000 worth of contracts. Liam looked at the PDFs. This is systematic identity theft. Okay, here's what we do. We draft a formal legal notice to all these vendors. We state that the signature is a forgery, you did not authorize these charges, and you are not responsible. We attach a copy of your real signature for comparison. If we send that, the vendors will cancel immediately, I said. The wedding will be over before it starts. Do you care? No, I said. But I want to time it. Send the notices on Friday morning. Friday was the day we landed in Italy. Friday was 3 days before the wedding. It was the point of no return. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was Sarah. Sarah was my childhood best friend. She was also a bridesmaid for Kayla, mostly because Kayla needed someone to boss around. Sarah hated it, but she was too nice to quit. Sarah, hey Hales. Are you okay? Kayla is on a rampage. She says you're trying to sabotage the wedding. I decided to take a risk. I needed an insider. Me, can you talk? Safe to talk. Sarah called immediately. Haley, what is going on? Bradley is drunk at the rehearsal dinner. Yes, they're having a pre-rehearsal dinner, don't ask, and he's saying some weird stuff. What kind of stuff? He's telling his groomsmen that he hit the jackpot. He thinks. Haley, he thinks you are the one paying for everything because you have a crush on him. He thinks the family money is all yours and that once he marries Kayla, he'll have access to your accounts. I laughed. It was a dark, bitter laugh. So he's a gold digger who dug in the wrong yard. He's broke, Haley. I overheard his mom talking. He has massive gambling debts. He thinks marrying into the Bennett family is his bailout. He thinks your parents are rich. My parents are broke, I said. They're stealing from me to look rich. Oh my God, Sarah whispered. So the whole wedding is a sham. Sarah, I need you to do something for me. I'm not coming to the wedding. I know. Kayla said you were jealous. I'm uninvited. But I need eyes and ears on the ground. Can you be my spy? For you. Always. Plus, this is better than Netflix. What do you need? Just document everything, I said. If people start freaking out about money, if vendors start walking out, record it. Send it to me. Consider it done. Also, Bradley is texting someone right now. He's smiling like a creep. My phone pinged. A text from an unknown number. Unknown, hey beautiful. Shame you won't be there. Maybe we can grab a drink when I'm back. The sister is cute, but the older sister has the assets. Winky face. It was Bradley. He was hitting on me. 3 days before marrying my sister. I got the text, I told Sarah. He just hit on me. EW. Gross. Keep that text, Haley. That's ammunition. Oh, I'm keeping everything, I said. Sarah, be careful. When this blows up, the blast radius is going to be huge. I brought popcorn, Sarah said. Good luck, Hales. I hung up and turned to Liam. Bradley is a con artist. He thinks I'm the cash cow, and he's trying to secure a backup plan. Perfect, Liam said, zipping up his suitcase. We have forgery, fraud, theft, and now infidelity. The receipts folder is getting full. I looked at the clock. 9 p.m. Mom thinks I'm going to the bank tomorrow morning, I said. She thinks I'm bringing her a cashier's check. And instead, we'll be in a taxi to JFK. I looked around my apartment. It felt different now. For years, this place had been a refuge, but it was always tainted by the anxiety of the next phone call, the next demand. Liam, I said. When we come back. I don't want to live here anymore. They know where we live. We'll sell it, he agreed immediately. We'll move. Change numbers. Start fresh. Fresh, I repeated. The word tasted sweet. I sat down at my computer one last time. I drafted the emails to the vendors, the photographer, the florist, the venue. I attached the affidavit of forgery Liam had prepared. I scheduled them all to send automatically at 9 a.m. on Friday. I hovered my mouse over the schedule send button. A part of me, the little girl who just wanted her mommy to love her, hesitated. If I do this, there is no going back. I will be an orphan. I remembered the voice recording. She's just the wallet. She's pathetic. I clicked the button. It's done, I said. Liam poured 2 glasses of wine. To the aesthetic, he toasted, mocking my mother's cruel words. To the receipts, I replied, clinking my glass against his. The puppets were dancing, but they didn't realize I had just cut the strings. The Uber ride to the airport at 5 a.m. felt like a covert extraction mission. The city was gray and quiet. I kept checking my phone, expecting a siren or a screaming phone call, even though logically I knew my parents were still asleep, dreaming of the money I promised to bring them. "Relax," Liam whispered, squeezing my hand as we watched the terminal approach. "You're safe." "I feel like a fugitive," I admitted. "You're not a fugitive. You're an escapee. There's a difference." Checking in at the business class counter was the first breath of real air I'd had in days. No one here knew me as Haley the ATM. I was just a passenger going to Italy. We made it to the lounge. I ordered a mimosa. It was 6:30 a.m. I didn't care. Then, the inevitable happened. 9 a.m. hit. The banks opened. My phone started to vibrate. "Mom, I'm at the bank branch you said you'd be at." "Where are you?" "Mom, Haley." "Mom, pick up the phone." I watched the notifications roll in like waves crashing against a seawall. I was no longer standing behind. Then, the tone changed. "Mom, why is the card declined?" "Mom, the florist just called. They said there's a fraud alert. Call the bank immediately and fix this." I took a sip of my mimosa. "It's beginning," I told Liam. "Don't answer," he said. "Let them sweat." "I have to send one thing," I said. "Just so they know I'm not dead. I don't want them calling the cops for a missing person." I typed a simple text to the group chat, "Mom, Dad, Kayla. Me, I am safe. I am taking a vacation. I am no longer funding this family. Do not contact me. Any further attempts to use my credit or name will be met with legal action. Goodbye." I hit send. Then, I did the most satisfying thing imaginable. I turned my phone to airplane mode. We boarded the plane. As the engines roared to life and we lifted off the tarmac, I looked down at the shrinking city. Somewhere down there in a bank branch or a floral shop, my mother was screaming. My sister was crying. My father was probably trying to figure out how to blame this on Obama. But up here, it was just clouds. The flight was long, but I slept like a baby for the first time in years. When we landed in Naples, the air was different. Warmer. Sweeter. A driver was waiting for us with a sign, "Signora Bennett." The drive to the Amalfi Coast was breathtaking. Winding roads clinging to the cliffs, the sparkling blue Mediterranean stretching out to infinity. We arrived at Villa Giovanni. It was a stunning, ochre-colored estate perched on a cliffside, surrounded by lemon groves. Giovanni himself came out to greet us. He was a boisterous man in his 60s with a white beard and eyes that crinkled when he smiled. "Haley. Liam," he shouted, pulling us into bear hugs. "Welcome home." Home. A stranger in Italy made me feel more at home in 5 minutes than my own family had in 3 decades. "We have everything ready," Giovanni said. "The terrace is set for dinner. The wine is breathing. No phones allowed." "We might need the phones for a little bit," Liam apologized. "We have a bit of a situation back in the States." We settled into our room. It opened onto a balcony overlooking the sea. The contrast was jarring. Here, paradise. There, hell. I turned off airplane mode. My phone nearly exploded. 142 missed calls. 300 plus texts. I didn't read them all. I just skimmed. "Kayla, you ruined my life. I hope you die." "Dad, how could you do this to your mother? She's in the hospital." "Lie, obviously." "Mom, you are ungrateful trash. I will sue you. And then, the emails from the vendors. From Elegant Bloom's subject, contract cancellation. Dear Ms. Bennett, per your affidavit regarding forgery, we have cancelled the order. We will be pursuing the original signer, Deborah Bennett, for the cancellation fees. From the venue subject, urgent payment required. The credit card on file has been declined. Unless $50,000 is wired by 5 p.m., the reservation is void. They are losing everything, I said, showing the screen to Liam. They brought this on themselves, Liam reminded me. Remember the voice recording? Remember the second mortgage? I know, I said. But it's still heavy. Look at me, Liam said, taking my face in his hands. You are not responsible for their chaos. You are only responsible for your peace. We went down to dinner. We ate pasta with fresh clams. We drank wine that tasted like sunshine. For a few hours, I forgot about the wedding. But late that night, as the moon rose over the water, I got a message from Sarah. Sarah, it's chaos. The venue just locked the doors. They wouldn't let them in for the rehearsal. Your mom is screaming at a security guard. Police are on the way. Sarah, also Bradley is still texting me asking if you're single. He doesn't know you cut the money off yet. I felt a cold resolve settle over me. The injustice phase was over. The snap had happened. We had the receipts. Now it was time for the confrontation. Even from 4,000 miles away. Liam, I whispered in the dark. Tomorrow is the wedding day. Or what was supposed to be the wedding day. Yeah. I want to have a wedding, I said. Our wedding. A renewal. Just us. Here. Liam sat up. Really? Yes. I bought a white dress. Just a simple one. I want to replace the memory of their wedding with ours. I'd marry you every day, he said, kissing my forehead. And I added, a mischievous thought forming. I want to take a picture. A really, really good picture. For the aesthetic. Liam grinned in the dark. Exactly. For the aesthetic. The day of Kayla's wedding dawned bright and sunny in Miami, or so I heard. In Amalfi, it was golden hour. I was wearing a simple, white silk slip dress that cost $200, less than the tax on Kayla's veil. My hair was down, blowing in the sea breeze. Liam was in a linen suit. There was no minister, just us, standing on the terrace of Villa Giovanni. Giovanni acted as our photographer. He wasn't a pro, but the scenery did the heavy lifting. Meanwhile, my phone, which I had left on the table, was buzzing itself across the surface like an angry beetle. Sarah was live texting the disaster. Sarah, 10 a.m. Total meltdown. The venue manager refused to open the ballroom. Mom tried to write a check, but their system flagged it. Apparently, her accounts are frozen too. I smirked. The fraud alert I placed on my credit files must have triggered an investigation into the joint accounts, or the forged loan application. The banks shut her down. Sarah, 11:30 a.m. They are moving the reception to, wait for it, Aunt Linda's backyard. It's a swamp. There are mosquitoes everywhere. Sarah, 12 p.m. The caterers didn't show up. Mom is screaming that you cancelled them. She's telling everyone you called and maliciously cancelled the food. Sarah, 12:30 p.m. Guests are leaving. It's 90 degrees and there's no food, and no AC. Bradley looks like he wants to murder someone. I pictured it. The royal wedding, reduced to a sweaty backyard barbecue with no barbecue. Then, a notification popped up. Facebook Live, Deborah Bennett. Liam, come watch this, I called out. We huddled over the phone. My mother was live streaming. She looked deranged. Her mascara was running, her hair was frizzy from the humidity. She was standing in at Linda's yard, with a sad-looking tent in the background. "My daughter, Haley," she shrieked into the camera, "has stolen our money. She is a thief." She was jealous of her sister's beauty, so she hacked our accounts and cancelled the wedding. She left us destitute. Anyone who knows Haley Bennett, tell her she is dead to us. We are calling the police. The comments section was going wild. Random aunt, "Oh my God, how could she?" Neighbor, "I always knew Haley was the dark horse." Kayla's friend, "Disgusting behavior. She was controlling the narrative. She was painting me as the villain." "She's lying," Liam said, his voice tight. "We need to respond." "Not yet," I said. "Wait for the climax." Sarah, 1 p.m. "Police just arrived. But they aren't looking for you. They're talking to your mom." On the live stream, the camera shook. 2 uniformed officers stepped into the frame. "Deborah Bennett," one officer asked. "Yes. Are you here to arrest my daughter?" Mom screamed triumphantly. "Ma'am, we need to speak with you regarding a report of identity theft and bank fraud filed by a Ms. Haley Bennett. And also a complaint of check fraud from the bridal suite." The live stream cut off abruptly. I burst out laughing. It was a hysterical, releasing laugh. She live-streamed her own police questioning. "That," Liam said, "is poetic justice." "But it's not over," I said. "Look at Bradley's Instagram." I pulled up Bradley's profile. He had posted a story. A black screen with white text, "Worst day of my life. Betrayed by everyone. True colors shown." And then, a direct message to me. "Bradley, hey Haley. This is a nightmare. I'm so sorry about your family. You were always the smart one. Honestly, I think I rushed into this. If you're ever in Miami, or if you want company in Europe, let me know. I can hop on a plane." My jaw dropped. He was trying to jump ship. He was trying to monkey branch from Kayla to me, thinking I still had the money. "He is unbelievable," I said. "He's a rat," Liam said. "A rat on a sinking ship." "I think it's time," I said, looking at the sunset. "Time to post." I selected the photo Giovanni had just taken. It was perfect. Me and Liam, clinking glasses of wine, looking genuinely, effortlessly happy. The background was the stunning Italian coast. The light was magical. I looked free. I opened Instagram. I wrote the caption carefully. Text, "Happy anniversary to my husband." We decided to skip the drama and choose peace. No forced payments, no forged signatures, just us. P.S. Happiness doesn't cost $800,000, but freedom is priceless. I tagged the location, Amalfi Coast, Italy. I hit post. Then, I went to my stories. I took a screenshot of Bradley's DM, the one hitting on me while his wedding was imploding. I posted it with the caption, "To my sister, you can have him. He's looking for a new sponsor." Hashtag golddigger, I hit post. "You just dropped a nuke," Liam whispered. "No," I said, taking a sip of wine. "I just turned on the lights. The roaches are the ones scattering." The phone started buzzing so hard it nearly fell off the table. The viral clapback had begun. Within 20 minutes, my phone was practically vibrating off the table. But this time, it wasn't just angry texts from family, it was the internet. My post was being shared rapidly. It turned out, a bridal nightmare story is catnip for social media. Friends of friends were screenshotting my story, the one exposing Bradley, and reposting it. Comments on my photo, "Wait, is this the sister of the girl whose wedding got shut down by the cops? OMG, the receipts. Look at her story. That guy hit on her on his wedding day. Trash. Team Haley all the way." She looks unbothered. Then, a big account, a wedding-shaming group with 500k followers, picked it up. Title: Mom tries to frame sister for ruining wedding, gets visited by cops while sister sips wine in Italy. And the groom is a cheater. 10 out of 10 drama. Sarah called me via FaceTime. She was hiding in her car. Haley. You broke the internet. People at the reception are looking at their phones and gasping. Bradley saw your story and literally threw his phone into the punch bowl. What about Kayla? I asked. Kayla is sobbing on the lawn. She's screaming that you're a witch. But get this. Bradley's mom saw the post. She saw the DM where Bradley tried to hit on you. She walked up to Bradley, slapped him in the face, and left. No way, Liam laughed. Yes way. The wedding is officially over. Everyone is leaving. And your mom, the police took her in for questioning. Apparently, the check she wrote to the florist earlier. It bounced so hard it cracked the pavement. Since she knew the accounts were frozen, that's writing a bad check with intent. She's in custody. I asked. Detained. Not arrested yet, I think. But she's in the back of a squad car. I felt a strange cocktail of emotions. Vindication. Yes. Sadness. A little. It didn't have to be this way. If they had just treated me like a human being, I would have given them the world. I would have paid for the flowers. I would have helped. But they chose greed. Haley, Sarah said, her voice lowering. Be careful. Your dad is still there. He's telling anyone who will listen that you hacked the bank accounts. He's trying to spin it that you committed the fraud. Let him try, I said. I have the contracts with the forged signatures. I have the voice recording. Post the recording, Sarah urged. People are still debating whose fault it is. Some people are saying you're petty for not helping family. I looked at Liam. Should I? The nuclear option. Liam mused. If you post that recording, there is no coming back. Ever. There was no coming back the minute they decided to steal my condo, I said. I opened the audio file, the receipts.mp3. I edited it down to the most damning 30 seconds. Mom's voice, she's just the wallet. Once the check clears, we can focus on getting her to sign over the condo. She's pathetic. Kayla's voice, imagine being 32, and having to pay your mommy to like you. I created a video with just a black background and the audio waveform moving. Caption, for anyone saying I should have helped family. This is what they said about me the day before I left. I didn't leave because I was jealous. I left because I was being robbed. I posted it. If the photo was a slap, this was a knockout punch. The comments shifted instantly. The family is family, defenders vanished. Oh my God. That is pure evil. The way they laugh about her, chilling. Girl, stay in Italy. Never go back. Sue them for everything. I put the phone down. It's done. How do you feel? Liam asked. Lighter, I said. And a little bit hungry. Can we order dessert? We ordered tiramisu. We sat on the balcony and watched the stars come out over the Mediterranean. For the first time in 32 years, I didn't feel the phantom weight of my mother's expectations. I didn't worry about whether Kayla liked her birthday gift. I didn't stress about Dad's mortgage. I was just Haley. And that was enough. But the next morning, the reality of the fallout hit. We woke up to an email from a major news outlet. Daily Mail wants an interview. BuzzFeed wants to feature your story. And an email from my dad. Subject, you have killed this family. Content, your mother had a heart attack in the police station. She is in the ER. If she dies, it is your fault. Fix this. Send money for the hospital bill immediately. Or don't bother coming to the funeral. I read the email 3 times. My hands started to shake again. The old programming tried to reboot. Mom is sick. Mom is dying. I have to help. Liam took the phone from my hand. He read the email. Then he looked at me. Haley. Remember the dental surgery money? Yeah. Remember the heart medication that was actually a dress? Yeah. Do you believe him? I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath. I listened to the sound of the ocean. No, I said. I don't. Call the hospital directly, Liam suggested. Verify. I called the main hospital in Miami. I asked for Deborah Bennett. One moment, yes, she was admitted last night. My heart stopped. She wasn't lying. Condition? I asked, my voice trembling. She was treated for a panic attack and released 2 hours later, the nurse said cheerfully. She's already gone home. I hung up. Panic attack, I told Liam. She was released hours ago. Dad is lying to get money. Of course he is, Liam said. The well is dry and they are thirsty. I opened my email. I hit reply to my dad. To Richard Bennett Ree, you have killed this family content. I called the hospital. They said she was released for a panic attack. Stop lying. Stop asking for money. If you contact me again, I will file for a restraining order. Give my regards to the police. I hit send. That was the moment I truly became free. Not when I left the country, not when I posted the photo, but when I refused to be manipulated by the ultimate guilt trip, death. So I said, turning to Liam. What do you want to do today? Boat tour. Boat tour sounds perfect, he smiled. We were free. But back in America, the fire was still burning, and the family was about to make one last, desperate attempt to drag me back into the flames. They weren't done yet. And neither was I. We had 3 days of peace. 3 days where the only loud noises were the church bells in the village, and the sound of the waves crashing against the cliffs below Villa Giovanni. Liam and I spent our time eating gelato, walking through lemon groves, and deliberately not talking about the crater we had left behind in Miami. But deep down, I knew the silence wouldn't last. Narcissists don't just fade away, they explode. It was Tuesday afternoon. We were lounging by the pool, the Mediterranean sun warming my skin. I was reading a book, finally able to focus on words on a page without my mind racing toward a to-do list. Then, the intercom at the main gate buzzed. Giovanni's voice crackled over the speaker system, sounding uncharacteristically tense. Haley, Liam. I am sorry to disturb you. But there are people at the gate. They say they are your family. They are very loud. My stomach dropped through the floor. The book slid from my hands and hit the stone deck with a slap. They're here. I whispered. How? They have no money. Their passports were expired last time I checked. Liam sat up, taking off his sunglasses. His eyes were cold, calculating. Desperation finds a way, Haley. They probably took a predatory loan. Or maxed out a card we didn't know about. I don't want to see them, I said, panic rising in my chest. Tell Giovanni to call the police. If we send them away now, they'll just camp outside, Liam said, standing up and putting on his shirt. They'll make a scene in the village. They'll hunt us down. We need to end this, Haley. Face to face. On our turf. Our turf. He was right. In Miami, I was the daughter in their house. Here, I was a guest in a fortress, protected by a husband who was also a shark of a lawyer. Okay, I said, standing up. My legs felt shaky, but I forced them to hold me. Let them in. 10 minutes later, I saw them. They looked like a caricature of the American tourists you warn people about. My mother, Deborah, was wearing a wrinkled floral dress and heels that were sinking into the gravel path. Her face was a mask of smudged makeup and fury. My father, Richard, looked red-faced and sweaty, dragging a suitcase that looked like it had been through a war. Kayla trailed behind them, wearing oversized sunglasses and looking more annoyed than angry. They stomped onto the terrace like they owned the place. There she is. Mom screamed the moment she saw me. She pointed a manicured finger at my chest. The thief. The ungrateful little brat. I didn't move. I stood by the pool, arms crossed. Liam stood slightly in front of me, a protective barrier. "Hello, Mother," I said. My voice was calm, which I knew would infuriate her. "I thought you had a heart attack. You almost killed me," she shrieked, marching closer until she was just a few feet away. "Do you have any idea the humiliation we suffered? The police came to the wedding, Haley." "The police?" I said. "You live-streamed it. You think this is funny?" Dad barked, dropping the suitcase. "We are ruined. The venue is suing us for $50,000. The caterer is suing for $20,000. The bank has frozen everything. We had to borrow money from a title loan place at 40% interest just to buy these plane tickets to come and find you." "Why?" I asked genuinely. "Why come find me?" "To fix it." Mom yelled as if it were obvious. "You are going to fix this, Haley. Right now. You are going to transfer the funds to cover the lawsuits, and you are going to write a public apology on social media saying you lied about everything. You will tell everyone you were mentally unstable and off your meds." I stared at her. The sheer delusion was breathtaking. "And if I don't?" "If you don't," Kayla piped up, lowering her sunglasses to glare at me, "we're going to sue you for emotional distress and theft. Mom says we can take your studio." "I didn't steal anything," I said. "I just stopped paying for things I didn't buy." "You promised." Mom lunged forward, grabbing my arm. Her grip was tight, her nails digging into my skin. "You are the provider. That is your job. You exist to support this family." "Don't touch her," Liam said. His voice was low, dangerous. He stepped between us and shoved my mother's hand away. "Don't you touch my wife," he repeated. "Oh, the lawyer speaks," Mom sneered, adjusting her dress. "You put her up to this, didn't you? Haley doesn't have the backbone for this. This is your fault." "It's not his fault," I said, stepping out from behind Liam. "It's mine. I recorded you, Mom. I recorded you and Kayla laughing about stealing my condo. I sent the fraud alerts. I canceled the cards. You recorded us." Mom's face went pale, then red again. "That's illegal." "Actually, in our state, it's one-party consent," Liam corrected smoothly. "Admissible in court. And very viral on TikTok." "You little bitch," Dad growled, stepping forward with his fists clenched. "After everything we gave you. We put a roof over your head. I paid off that roof." I shouted back, my voice finally breaking the calm surface. "I paid your mortgage for 10 years, Dad. I bought your cars. I funded Kayla's life. And you uninvited me. You told me I was too ugly for the photos. You are ugly." Mom screamed, losing all control. "You are a jealous, bitter, barren spinster who can't stand that her sister is beautiful and happy. You wanted to ruin her day because you're miserable." "I'm not miserable," I said, looking around at the stunning Italian coast, at my husband, at the life I could have. "I'm free." "You're nothing without us," Mom spat. "You have no family. You are an orphan now." "I'd rather be an orphan than a victim," I said. Give me the check, Dad demanded, holding out a shaking hand. Write a check for $200,000. That covers the debts and the travel. Do it and we leave. Refuse, and we will make sure you never work in the industry again. We will picket your studio. We will ruin you. I looked at them. Really looked at them. They weren't powerful. They were pathetic. They were addicts and I was their drug. They were going through withdrawal, shaking and violent. No, I said. What did you say? Mom whispered. No. Not a penny. Not now. Not ever. Mom's eyes widened. She looked at the table by the pool where a glass pitcher of lemonade sat. In a flash of movement, she grabbed the heavy glass pitcher and swung it. She wasn't aiming for me. She was aiming for Liam. No. I screamed. Liam ducked, but he wasn't fast enough to avoid it completely. The pitcher clipped his shoulder and shattered on the stone patio, sending glass and sticky lemon water everywhere. You monster! I shrieked. Giovanni appeared from the villa doors, two large groundskeepers behind him. He looked furious. Basta! Giovanni roared. Enough. Call the carabinieri, Liam said, brushing glass off his shoulder. He wasn't bleeding, thank God, but his face was hard as granite. Assault. Trespassing. Attempted extortion. You wouldn't dare, Mom hissed, though she looked suddenly small as the large Italian men approached. We're your parents. No, I said, looking her dead in the eye. Your defendants. The wait for the Italian police, the carabinieri, was agonizing. Giovanni's men had corralled my family into a corner of the terrace, standing guard like sentinels. My parents sat on a stone bench, muttering to themselves, while Kayla sat on her suitcase, scrolling on her phone, looking bored. I can't believe there's no Wi-Fi out here, Kayla complained loudly. This is abuse. I was tending to Liam's shoulder. There was a large bruise forming, and a small cut from a shard of glass, but he insisted he was fine. They crossed the line, Liam said quietly. Physical assault. In a foreign country. They have no idea what they just did. They think the rules don't apply to them, I said. They never have. When the police arrived, it wasn't a casual affair. 2 patrol cars wound their way up the cliffside drive. 4 officers emerged, looking immaculate in their uniforms, with red stripes down the pants and holstered sidearms. Giovanni spoke to them in rapid-fire Italian. He pointed at the shattered glass, then at Liam's shoulder, then at my parents. The lead officer, a stern man named Capitano Rossi, nodded and walked over to us. Signora Bennett, he asked. Yes, I said. These people, they are family. Biologically, yes, I said. But they are trespassing. And she, I pointed to my mother, attacked my husband. Capitano Rossi turned to my parents. Passports, please. My father stood up, trying to muster some American bluster. Now look here, officer. This is a family dispute. We are American citizens. You can't just passports, Rossi repeated, his hand resting casually on his belt. The tone was not a request. Dad fumbled in his pocket and produced 3 passports. Rossi took them and handed them to a younger officer, who began checking them against a handheld device. We demand you arrest her. Mom shouted, pointing at me. She stole our money. She committed credit card fraud. Liam stepped forward. Officer, I am an attorney. My wife is the victim of identity theft. These individuals forged her signature on loans and vendor contracts in the United States. We have the affidavits here. Liam pulled out his iPad. He had everything ready. The receipts folder. He showed the officer the digital copies of the forged signatures next to my real ID. He played the audio recording of them plotting to steal the condo. Although the officer didn't understand every English word of the recording, the tone of malice was universal. And the forged signatures were visual proof. The younger officer said something to Rossi in Italian, looking at the device. Rossi's eyebrows shot up. "It seems," Rossi said, turning back to my father, "that there is an alert on these passports. From the United States." My heart skipped a beat. An alert. "The bank," Liam whispered to me. "When they took out that fraudulent second mortgage or the title loan, if they defaulted or if the fraud was flagged as interstate, the bank might have escalated it." "Mr. Bennett," Rossi said, "you are flagged for financial fraud investigation. And your return tickets. They have been cancelled by the airline due to non-payment." "What?" Dad went pale. "No, I put it on the visa." "The new visa?" "The stolen visa." I asked. "Did you open a card in my name, Dad?" His silence was the answer. He had tried to open one last card in my name to fund this trip, hoping I wouldn't notice until they arrived. But with the credit freeze I put in place, the charge must have bounced mid-flight, or the bank flagged it immediately. "We are stuck here," Mom screeched. "We have no money. We have nowhere to go." "That is not my problem," Rossi said. "But the assault is. And the disturbance." He motioned to his men. They stepped forward and took my father and mother by the arms. "You are detaining us," Dad yelled. "I know my rights. I want the embassy." "You will have the embassy," Rossi said calmly, "after we process you for assault and public disturbance. And then, we will discuss with the American authorities regarding this fraud." As they were being led away, my mother turned back to me. The rage was gone, replaced by a terrifying, desperate panic. Haley, please. Don't let them take us. I'm your mother. I changed your diapers. I loved you." I looked at her. I looked at the woman who had called me ugly, who had stolen my future, who had tried to hurt the man I loved. "You didn't love me," I said, my voice steady and loud enough for everyone to hear. "You loved my wallet. And now that it's closed, you have nothing." "Kayla!" Mom screamed. "Kayla, do something." Kayla was standing by her suitcase, looking at her parents being handcuffed. She looked at me. Then she looked at the police. "I didn't do anything," Kayla said to the officer, holding up her hands. "I didn't throw the picture. I didn't forge the signatures. That was all them. I just wanted a wedding." "Kayla!" Dad roared. "You traitor." "I'm not going to jail for you," Kayla muttered. She looked at me, her eyes pleading. "Haley. Can I stay here? Just until I get a flight." I looked at my sister. The golden child. She was willing to throw our parents under the bus the second it got hot. She was just like them. "No," I said. "But I have nowhere to go." Kayla cried. "Bradley dumped me. He literally posted a status saying he's single. I'm homeless." "You're an adult," I said. "Figure it out." I turned to Giovanni. "Please ensure she leaves the property. If she stays, call the police back." "Understood," Giovanni said, crossing his arms. I watched as the police cars drove away with my parents. I watched as Kayla dragged her suitcase down the long driveway, her heels clicking on the stones, weeping into her phone, trying to find someone, anyone, to bail her out. I stood on the terrace for a long time. The silence returned. The birds started singing again. Liam came up behind me and wrapped his good arm around my waist. "It's over." "Is it?" I asked. "The legal machine has started," he said. "The U.S. consulate will get involved. They'll likely be deported back to face the fraud charges in the States. They are going to lose the house. They are going to lose everything. I feel. I searched for the word. I expected to feel guilty. I expected to feel sad. I feel clean, I said. Like I just took a shower after walking through mud for 30 years. You look clean, Liam smiled, kissing my neck. And beautiful. And free. We walked back into the villa. The nightmare was over. The reality of their consequences was just beginning, but for the first time, I didn't have to watch. We stayed in Italy for another week. We didn't want to go back until the dust had settled. When we finally landed at JFK, the air felt different. It was the same city, but I was walking through it with a different posture. Head high. Shoulders back. No longer waiting for the next blow. The fallout was catastrophic, swift, and completely public. Sarah met us for coffee the day after we got back. She brought a file folder. The autopsy report, she joked grimly. Tell me, I said, sipping my latte. Okay. So, your parents were held in Italy for 3 days. The U.S. consulate finally arranged for their deportation, but only after they signed an agreement to appear for the fraud investigation here. They are back, but... Sarah paused. But what? The bank foreclosed on the house yesterday. The second mortgage fraud triggered an acceleration clause. They have 30 days to vacate. I nodded. The house I grew up in. The house I paid to maintain. Gone. And the lawsuits? Liam asked. The venue is suing for breach of contract. The caterer is suing. And get this, Bradley is suing Kayla for the return of the engagement ring, claiming she obtained it under false pretenses of financial standing. He is such a snake, I shook my head. They deserve each other. Where are they living? I asked. Motel 6 off the highway, Sarah said. And Kayla, well, this is the part that might actually make you smile. Kayla is working. Working? I raised an eyebrow. Kayla. She got a job at the mall. At a kiosk selling cell phone cases. She has to wear a uniform. I let out a short, incredulous laugh. The girl who thought she was too good to have me in her wedding photos was now hustling $20 plastic cases to teenagers. Has she tried to call? She tried to call me, Sarah said. She wanted me to ask you for money. She said, Haley won't let her little sister starve, right? What did you tell her? I told her that starvation builds character. And then I blocked her. We all laughed, but it was a heavy laugh. It was the laughter of survivors. A week later, I received a summons. Not as a defendant but as a witness. My parents were being charged by the district attorney for identity theft, bank fraud, and forgery. I had to go to the courthouse to give a deposition. Walking into that room was the hardest thing I've ever done. My parents were there with a public defender. They looked aged. Defeated. My mother's hair was gray at the roots, she hadn't been able to afford the salon. My father looked shrunken. When they saw me, Mom's eyes lit up with a flicker of the old manipulation. She mouthed the word, please. She wanted me to recant. To say I authorized the charges. To say it was all a misunderstanding. If I did that, the criminal charges would likely be dropped to civil ones. I could save them from prison. I could take on the debt myself. I sat down. The stenographer waited. The DA looked at me. Mrs. Bennett Miller, the DA asked. Did you authorize your mother, Deborah Bennett, to sign your name on the contract for the bridal suite? I looked at my mother. I remembered the phone call. You're too ugly for the photos. I remembered the years of gaslighting. I remembered her trying to hit Liam with the picture. No, I said clearly. I did not. Did you authorize the second mortgage application? No. That is a forgery. My mother put her head in her hands and sobbed. It wasn't a fake sob this time. It was the sound of a trap slamming shut. I walked out of that deposition, and I didn't look back. The weeks turned into months. The justice system moved slowly, but it moved. My parents took a plea deal to avoid jail time. They received 5 years of probation, restitution orders, which they could never pay, and a permanent criminal record. They were forced to declare bankruptcy. They moved into a small, subsidized one-bedroom apartment in a bad part of town. No more country clubs. No more keeping up appearances. They were pariahs in their social circle. The story of the wedding scam had made them local celebrities in the worst possible way. As for me, I sold the condo. I didn't want it anymore. It was tainted by their greed. Liam and I bought a house. A real house, with a garden and a darkroom in the basement. It was 40 minutes away, in a town where no one knew my maiden name. One afternoon, I was at the grocery store in my new town. I turned the aisle and saw a woman who looked vaguely familiar. It was one of my mother's old friends, Mrs. Higgins. She saw me and froze. I braced myself for a confrontation. Mrs. Higgins walked up to me. She looked at my cart, full of fresh food and flowers. She looked at my face, which was relaxed and happy. "Haley," she said. "Hello, Mrs. Higgins. I just wanted to say." She hesitated. "We all saw the video. The recording. We didn't know. Your mother always told us, well, she told us you were difficult. That you were selfish." "I know what she said," I replied softly. "She was wrong," Mrs. Higgins said. "I'm glad you got away, dear. You look happy." "I am," I said. "I really am." She squeezed my arm and walked away. That small interaction was the final brick in the wall of my vindication. They hadn't just lost their money. They had lost their reputation. The mask had fallen, and everyone saw the monsters underneath. I went home to Liam. We made dinner. We laughed about something silly on TV. My phone rang. It was an unknown number. I usually didn't answer, but I felt a strange intuition. "Hello. Haley." It was Kayla. Her voice sounded rough, tired. "What do you want, Kayla?" I wanted to say, "I'm sorry." Silence. "I'm working double shifts," she continued. My feet hurt. I live in a studio apartment with 2 roommates. I take the bus. "Okay," I said. "I know I was awful," she sobbed. "I know I let them use you. I was so used to getting everything I wanted. I didn't know how much it cost you. It cost me a childhood, Kayla." "I know. I'm sorry. Mom and Dad, they're miserable. They just sit around and complain. I don't visit them much." "Good for you," I said. Can we ever fix this?" she asked. "Can I ever be your sister again?" I thought about it. I thought about forgiveness. I thought about boundaries. "Not today," I said gently. "Maybe not for a long time. You have a lot of growing up to do, Kayla. You need to learn who you are when you aren't a princess." "I understand," she whispered. "Good luck, Kayla." I hung up. I didn't invite her over. I didn't offer money. But I didn't hate her anymore. I just felt distant. Like she was a character in a book I had finished reading. I closed the book. I put it on the shelf. And I started writing the next one. 1 year later. The studio was buzzing. My assistant, a bright young woman named Jessica, who I actually paid a living wage, unlike my parents paid me, was adjusting the lights. "Haley, your 2 p.m. is here." Jessica called out. "Send her in." A woman walked in. She was about 60 years old. She had silver hair cut in a chic bob, and laugh lines etched deep around her eyes. She was wearing a simple, elegant suit. She looked nervous. "Hi, I'm Eleanor," she said. I read your story. On the blog. About the wedding. About the foundation. 6 months ago, Liam and I had started a small nonprofit called Love Without Permission. It was a fund to help artists and creatives who had been cut off by their families or were suffering from financial abuse. We offered legal advice, small grants for equipment, and mentorship. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Eleanor," I said, shaking her hand. "What can I do for you today?" "I'm getting married," she said, blushing like a teenager. "For the first time. I spent my whole life taking care of my parents. Then my brother. I was the reliable one. I never had time for me. My heart ached with recognition." "I understand. I met David 2 years ago," she continued. "My family hates him. They say he's taking me away from my duties. They aren't coming to the wedding. They said I'm too old to be a bride. That I look ridiculous." She looked down at her hands. "I almost cancelled. But then I read your story. I saw that photo of you in Italy. You looked so free. And I thought, maybe I can be free too." I walked over and took her hands. "Eleanor, look at me. You are not ridiculous. You are stunning. And you deserve to be the main character in your own life. I want you to take the photos," she said. "I want to look like you did. Unapologetic. Consider it done," I smiled. We spent the next 2 hours shooting. I put on music, old school Motown. Eleanor loosened up. She laughed. She twirled. I captured the light in her eyes, the wisdom, the joy of a woman who has finally claimed her happiness. When I showed her the preview on the monitor, she started to cry. "Is that me?" she whispered. "That's you," I said. "The real you." Driving home that night, I thought about the journey. It had been a year of fire. I had burned down the structures of my old life. I had lost the people who shared my DNA. But look at what I had found in the ashes. I found my voice. I found a career that meant something more than just paying bills. I found a community of survivors who supported each other. I found a deeper love with Liam, forged in the trenches of battle. I pulled into the driveway of our house. The garden was blooming. Liam was on the porch, throwing a ball for the golden retriever puppy we had adopted last month. We named him Gio, after Giovanni. I got out of the car. The dog ran to me, tail wagging, pure unconditional love. Liam looked up and smiled, that same smile from the balcony in Italy. I realized then what family actually means. Family isn't about whose blood runs in your veins. It isn't about obligation or guilt or who you owe for raising you. Family are the people who cheer for you when you succeed, not the ones who worry your light will outshine theirs. Family are the people who respect your no, not the ones who demand your yes. Family are the people who stand in front of you when the glass is thrown. My mother was right about one thing. I was an orphan that day on the terrace. But I didn't stay one. I built my own family. A family based on love, not transaction. I walked up the steps and sat next to Liam. "How was the shoot?" he asked. "Perfect," I said. "She's going to have a beautiful wedding." "Did she invite her family?" "No," I said, leaning my head on his shoulder. "She invited her friends. She invited the people who love her." "Good for her," Liam said. "Liam?" "Yeah. I think I'm ready to take down the blocking on my phone," I said. "For Kayla." He looked surprised. "Really?" "Yeah. Not to talk. Not yet. But just to leave a door open. A crack. If she keeps working. If she keeps changing. Maybe in 5 years, maybe. You're a better person than I am, Liam laughed. No, I said. I'm just not afraid anymore. They can't hurt me. I have the receipts. We watched the sun go down. It wasn't the Italian coast, but it was ours. And it was paid for. The story of the uninvited sister was over. The story of Haley Bennett was just beginning. And for the first time in my life, I couldn't wait to turn the page. Thank you so much for listening to my whole story. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it? I am so grateful for every single one of you who stuck around till the end. If you made it this far, you are truly special. Please type the letter A in the comments below so I know you are one of the real ones who watched the whole journey. And tell me, have you ever had to cut off a toxic family member? How did you find your peace? Share your story below. I read every single comment. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself. You deserve to be the main character of your life. See you in the next one.